Hello, everyone. After what seems like an age, I, Ethan, 27, donned male, felt it was time to talk about what's been going on with me lately. The trouble is, until recently, I thought I was marrying the love of my life. Claire, 26, female. We'd been together for 4 years, and for the most part, I believed we were good. But now I'm sitting here wondering why I hadn't seen this coming sooner. Claire and I met at a birthday party, introduced by a mutual friend. She was funny, confident, and had a straightforward style that I liked. I'd dated before, but no one connected with me as she did. We connected instantly and moved in together after a year. Things felt natural, as if we were on the same page regarding careers, marriage, and eventually starting a family. She was a freelance graphic designer, and I worked as a project manager for a technology company, so our schedules were somewhat comparable. Life wasn't flashy, but it was delightful. We had been talking about getting married for a while, but it wasn't until last year that I proposed nothing spectacular, just a regular dinner at home for the two of us. Claire appeared thrilled. She cried, hugged me, and said yes. That night, we began to plan our future, a fall wedding with a small guest list, and this gorgeous lakeside location. It appeared that everything was coming into place, or so I thought. The earliest red flags were subtle, almost invisible. They were little issues that I overlooked since I didn't want to overthink. For example, Claire's passion for wedding planning waned after a few months. She was all in at first, sending me Pinterest boards, looking through wedding gowns, and inquiring about minor matters, like whether I wanted tulips or roses for the centerpiece. But then it abruptly ceased. I'd ask her things like, "Hey, have you chosen your bridesmaids yet?" And she'd brush it off. "Not yet. I'm still thinking about it," she'd repeat. The same thing happened with her outfit, cake, and music. Every decision we'd been so excited about had become something she wished to postpone. "There's still time," she'd explain. The wedding seemed like an afterthought. At the time, I told myself it was just stress. Wedding planning can be overwhelming, right? Furthermore, Claire had a lot going on at work. I expected her to snap out of it eventually. What I didn't know was that her lack of enthusiasm wasn't for the wedding, but for us. The actual slap in the face occurred one night when we were out with some friends. Someone mentioned that idiotic TikTok game, which you've probably seen, the one where you have to answer personal questions with a straight face and avoid passing judgment. Everything was going well until someone asked, "If you could relive one relationship, which would it be?" Claire said without hesitation. "Oh, probably Ryan." Just like that. Ryan, her college ex, the one who cheated on her. The moment she said that, the room went awkwardly quiet. She chuckled sheepishly and tried to backtrack, saying, "I mean, not that I'd want to. It's just a significant part of my past." I wanted to confront her right there, but we were among friends, so I let it go. Later, when we were alone, I asked her about it. "What was that about Ryan? Why did you decide to revisit that relationship?" She just shrugged it off as if it were no big deal. "It was a silly game. Ethan, don't take it too seriously," she said, changing the subject. I didn't pursue it since I didn't want to start a fight over something so small, but it lingered in my mind. After that, her behavior became harder to ignore. She was using her phone more frequently, scrolling through texts with a sly little smile and making vague excuses for why she couldn't hang out or why she'd cancel plans at the last minute. "Oh, sorry. I just have a lot of work to catch up on tonight," she'd usually say. Or, "I promised my mom I'd visit this weekend." The excuses weren't particularly suspicious, but they added up, and it felt like I had become less of a priority. Then came Friday night, which changed everything. I arrived home from work early, eager to spend the evening with Claire, hoping we could order in and binge-watch something a quiet night. When I walked in, the mood felt strange. She was sitting on the couch, holding her laptop, but she wasn't working. She was staring at the screen, completely inattentive. "Hey, I'm home," I said softly, attempting to break the tension. "You're early," she replied, as if it were a bad thing. I brushed it off and went into the kitchen to start preparing dinner, but the silence in the house was suffocating. Normally, she'd ask how my day was or tell me about hers, but tonight, nothing. Finally, I looked over and asked, "Is everything all right?" She closed her laptop and looked at me. "Actually, there's something I need to talk to you about." My stomach plummeted. You know that feeling when you sense something bad is about to happen, but can't stop it. That was me, standing there like an idiot with a spatula in one hand. I approached and sat across from her. "All right," I replied. "What's going on?" She paused, as if struggling to find the right words, then just came out with it. "I've been thinking about us, and about Ryan." I swear I almost laughed. "Ryan, are you serious? What about him?" She bit her lip and averted my gaze. "I suppose I need some time to think things through. I'd like to take a break and see whether there's still something there with him." I couldn't believe what I'd heard. "You want to take a break and date your ex? Are you out of your mind?" "Claire, we're engaged. It's not like that," she said quickly, as if she could smooth things over. "I just want to know whether I'm making the right choice with you. And if it doesn't work out, I promise to return." That's when I realized how arrogant she was. She believed I'd sit around and wait for her to decide if I was good enough. I didn't yell or blow up. Instead, I sat there, staring at her, wondering how I hadn't seen this coming. I wasn't sure how to respond at first. My fiancée recently informed me that she wants to take a break to explore things with her ex, Ryan. "What can you say to that?" Finally, I asked. "So, what does this break mean for you?" My voice sounded calmer than I felt. She straightened up slightly, as if she were prepared for this conversation. "I think we need some space to figure things out. I'll take some time to see if my feelings for Ryan are genuine, and you're allowed to think about us as well." I couldn't believe her arrogance. "Wait," I answered, leaning closer. "You're saying you need to date your ex, but I need to think about us. What kind of backward logic is that?" Claire sighed, as if I were being ridiculous. "It's not that you did anything wrong, Ethan. This is about me figuring out what I need." She seemed to have rehearsed this the way she spoke, the way she avoided eye contact. It was as if she had already decided this was going to happen and just wanted me to accept it. "You realize this sounds insane, right?" I mumbled. "You don't just put your fiancé on hold while you play what if with some guy who treated you like crap." Her expression stiffened, and I noticed for the first time how stubborn she could be. "I'm not asking for permission, Ethan. I'm telling you what I need." That one landed differently. I wasn't just sad, I was angry. So, I stood up and started pacing, hoping to calm myself down. "So? What? Claire, you're just going to pack your bags and head over to Ryan's place? Is this your big plan?" "No," she insisted. "It's not like that. I'm not sure what it looks like yet, but I need clarity before moving forward. I owe it to myself to know I'm making the right decision." "You owe it to yourself?" I asked, laughing bitterly. "And what about what you owe me?" "Claire, we're engaged. We're supposed to be starting a life together, and now you're telling me you need to test drive your ex to make sure I'm good enough." "I never said you weren't good enough," she continued, her voice rising. "But if we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, I need to be sure, and right now, I'm not." That was it. She wasn't just curious about exploring things with Ryan. She was unsure about me, even after 4 years together and all our plans. It hit me all at once. She hadn't realized how cruel and foolish her request was, and she thought it was reasonable for me to just sit there while she figured out whatever nonsense was going through her head. I stopped pacing and looked at her. "You know what?" I said, my tone flat. "Sure, take your break." She blinked, astonished at how quickly I agreed. "Ethan, I'm not trying to hurt you. I just need space to figure things out." I nodded with a blank expression. "All right, if that's what you need." She hesitated, as if she expected me to argue or fight for her, and when I didn't, she stood up, grabbed her laptop, and muttered, "I'll stay at my mum's for a while. This won't last forever. We'll talk when I've had some time." "Okay," I responded simply. She looked at me, unsure how to react, then disappeared into the bedroom, where I could hear her moving around and throwing things into a bag. I stayed calm on the couch, but my thoughts were already racing. If she genuinely needs a break, that's fine. Let her have it. A few minutes later, I heard the front door close, and she was gone, probably thinking she'd left me here to wait and worry. She had no idea I wasn't going to sit around and do nothing. She could have her fantasy, but I had other plans. I'll provide an update once I've put certain things in motion. This isn't going to end the way she expects. Update 1. Thank you for your comments and recommendations on my previous post. A lot has happened this week, and I'd like to share how things are progressing. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone in this community for their tremendous support. Many of you said I shouldn't just sit around waiting, and you were right. I've been busy putting things into action. First, I contacted Lucas, my best friend since college. He's not the type of guy to sugarcoat things. After hearing the whole story, he brought over pizza, and we spent the entire night plotting. Dude, you know she'll try to crawl back if things don't work out with Ryan. Right, Lucas said. Of course, he was right. The more we talked, the clearer it became that I needed to take action. This wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming control of my life. I started with the house. Claire seems to forget that it's entirely in my name, and she loves to act as if it's our home, always talking about the curtains and paint colors she chose. Despite the fact that I pay the mortgage, I called a realtor first thing Monday morning, and we decided to list it right away. The market in our neighborhood is hot right now, and we already have several potential buyers. Claire has no idea. She probably thinks I'm sitting here in our shared home, waiting for her to sort out her feelings. The second step was to quietly remove her from my life. Remember those live, laugh, love posters she insisted on putting up? They're gone. Did she really need those fancy throw pillows? They're donated. Her clothes and personal belongings that she left behind, I carefully packed them all up, but this is where I got strategic. Instead of just dropping her stuff off at her mum's house, or having her come pick it up, I hired a moving company that took everything to her mum's and left a brief note. This is your stuff. Good luck with Ryan. I know some of you might think this is petty, but I disagree. I'm not being vindictive. I'm being efficient. She wanted space to think things through. She's got it literally. The most exciting moment came when mutual friends started asking questions. Instead of playing the victim or bad-mouthing her, I just told the truth. Claire felt she needed to explore things with her ex before committing to marriage. I decided I deserved better than being someone's backup plan. You should see how people react to that. No drama, no accusations, just facts. It's amazing how quickly the narrative shifts when you don't try to control it. I've also been making moves at work. I applied for a position at our West Coast office that I'd been considering for a while. If the house sells, which seems likely, and I get this job, I'll be starting over on the other side of the country. Claire has tried to contact me several times this week, starting with casual texts like, "Hope you're doing okay," and escalating to increasingly anxious messages once she realized I was actually making changes instead of just waiting around. She was in a panic yesterday when her mum told her the boxes had arrived. "What are you doing? Why are you acting like this is over?" I kept my response simple, because it's over. "Claire, you made your choice, and now I'm making mine." She started crying, saying she just needed time to think things through, that I was being too hasty, and that this wasn't what she meant when she asked for a break. "What were you expecting?" I asked her. "That I'd wait here like a loyal puppy while you test drove your ex. That's not how this works." "But what if I realize you're the one I want?" she sobbed. "Then you'll have learned a valuable lesson about not taking people for granted," I said before hanging up. The strange thing is, I'm not even upset anymore. Instead, I feel liberated. Every box I pack, every move I make, feels like I'm reclaiming parts of myself that I hadn't realized I'd given up. Lucas came by again yesterday to help me pack the house, and he noticed the change in me. "You seem different," he said, "more focused." He's right, I am different. When Claire first expressed her desire to explore things with Ryan, I felt like my world was collapsing. Now I see it wasn't my world collapsing, but the false reality I'd been living in finally disintegrating. I have more plans in the works, but I'll save them for the next post. For now, I'll just say this. Sometimes, the best way to respond to someone treating you like an option is to remove yourself entirely from their list of choices. Stay tuned, this story hasn't ended yet, and I have a feeling Claire's break to sort things out isn't going to go as planned. Update 2. I appreciate all the responses to my recent update. Things have escalated dramatically, and I'd like to explain how the situation has developed. Remember how I mentioned applying for the West Coast position? Well, I got it, and the timing couldn't be better. The house is under contract, with a closing scheduled for next month. But that's just the beginning. What's particularly interesting is how Claire's Ryan exploration is unfolding. Through mutual friends, I learned that their rekindled passion isn't quite the fairy tale she envisioned. It seems 4 years haven't changed him much. He's still the untrustworthy guy who cheated on her in college. Claire has tried to control the narrative on social media, posting vague, uplifting platitudes about finding yourself and following your heart. So, I decided to play the same game, but with a twist. I wrote a single, factual post, update on my life. I'm excited to announce that I've accepted a position in San Francisco. Sometimes when one door closes, another opens. I'm looking forward to this new chapter. People congratulated me, asked about the move, and, of course, inquired about Claire. I kept my responses simple and honest. We're no longer together. She wanted to explore other options, so I'm doing the same. This set off a fantastic chain reaction in our social circle. Remember those people who weren't sure about the situation? Watching me handle it with grace, while Claire posted cryptic relationship quotes, completely shifted the dynamic. Sophie.29.female, a mutual colleague in the tech industry who used to refer many clients to Claire, contacted me about Claire's freelance design work, which relies heavily on referrals and networking. I need to know what happened, Sophie said over coffee. Claire's telling people you're having a temporary separation to grow individually, but something feels off. I shared Claire's note about wanting to date Ryan, and Sophie's expression said it all. She couldn't believe it. By the end of the week, several potential clients had pushed back their projects with Claire, not because I said anything negative, but because, honestly, who wants to work with someone who takes commitment so lightly? Claire sensed the shift, and her texts became more frequent and agitated. Why are you telling people about Ryan? You're ruining my reputation. This isn't fair. I just needed time to think. I responded to her last message. You got what you wanted, time and space. How I spend, mine is no longer your concern. The turning point came when Ryan, in his infinite wisdom, posted a photo of them together at the restaurant where Claire and I had our first date. It was obvious she was trying to recreate our history with him, which was both sad and amusing. The post didn't stay up long, but the damage was done. Our mutual friends saw it, and the few people who still believed Claire's finding myself story lost respect for her. Even her own sister reached out to me. I'm so sorry for how she's handling this. You deserve better. What was most satisfying? I didn't have to be vengeful. I just lived my life openly and honestly, while Claire tried to play both sides. The truth has a way of coming out. She showed up at my office yesterday. Ryan had apparently already shown his true colors. Flirting with other women, being unreliable, the usual story. She was crying. I made a huge mistake. She sobbed. I was scared of commitment. I thought I needed to know if there was something better out there, but I was wrong. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. I just looked at her calmly. No, Claire. The best thing that ever happened to me was when you showed your true colors before we got married. She tried to argue, saying we could work it out, that she'd go to counseling, that she'd prove she could be trusted again. But I just shook my head. You don't get it, do you? This isn't about Ryan anymore. This is about you thinking you could keep me as a backup while you explored your options. That's not love. It's convenience. She left my office distraught, but I felt better than ever. The house closes next week. Most of my stuff is packed, and my new life in San Francisco starts in a month. The funny thing is, some people think I'm being too harsh. Everyone makes mistakes, they say. But this wasn't a mistake, it was a choice. Every text she sent to Ryan, every lie about where she was, every moment she spent planning to put our relationship on hold, those were all choices. I'll post another update after the move, but for now, I'll leave you with this. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't getting even, it's getting better. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Update 3. Thank you for following my journey. This is my final post, and I have some exciting developments to share. San Francisco is everything I hoped it would be. My new apartment has a stunning view of the bay. The tech scene is incredible, and my new office team is fantastic. It's refreshing to be around people who value progress and innovation over drama. But first, let me catch you up on how things wrapped up back home. The closing went smoothly, and the house actually sold for more than the asking price. It was interesting to see Claire's reaction after she found out through mutual friends. She didn't believe I'd sold the house until she drove by and saw the new owners moving in. Here's where things got really intriguing. Remember Ryan? He reached out to me, of all people, and sent me a long message explaining that he never meant to cause trouble, and that Claire had approached him first months before she asked for the break. Claire had been planning her little exploration for quite a while, messaging Ryan for months, carefully laying the groundwork for her backup plan. The irony, Ryan ended things with her because, as he put it, if she could do this to you, she could do it to anyone. Claire's professional fallout has been significant. Remember all those clients she had lined up? Most of them found other designers not because I said anything, but because word spreads in the industry. One of her biggest clients actually contacted me. We heard what happened with the engagement. They said, "We're looking for someone who can commit to long-term projects. Do you know any reliable designers?" I recommended a talented friend of mine, and she got the contract. Karma, I suppose. Claire's social media meltdown was something to behold, starting with somber quotes about losing your true love, escalating to angry posts about toxic people who can't handle growth, and finally culminating in desperate attempts to prove she was happy. The last one was particularly telling. She posted about starting her own design firm, and 3 days later, she was sending out job applications. Her sister reached out to me again last week, saying Claire has been staying with their parents and needs time to heal after our breakup. She really thought you'd wait for her, her sister said. When you sold the house and moved, her whole world fell apart. The most empowering moment came during a video call with our old friend group. Someone mentioned seeing Claire at a coffee shop, explaining to a potential client why her portfolio website was down, apparently. She forgot that I was the one who set it up and maintained it, and when her hosting subscription expired, she couldn't figure out how to renew it. That's no longer my responsibility. My new life is coming together beautifully. I've joined a local rock climbing club, started taking Spanish classes, and even adopted a dog from a nearby shelter named Zeus, who's a better companion than my ex-fiancée. Last week, I was invited to speak at a developer conference, something that wouldn't have happened if I'd stayed back home. It's amazing what you can achieve when you're not carrying dead weight. The tech community here is incredibly welcoming. I had one final interaction with Claire. She sent me an email demanding some old photos from our shared cloud storage, which I had already deleted and cancelled weeks ago. Her email read, "I know you're trying to erase me from your life, but you can't just delete our memories. Those 4 years meant something." My response was simple. "You're right. Those years taught me what I don't want in a partner. Thank you for the lesson." Some mutual friends think I'm being too harsh and should be more empathetic to her moment of confusion. But it wasn't a moment. It was a deliberate choice to keep me as a safety net, while she chased what she thought was a better option. What's the biggest lesson I've learned from all this? Sometimes, the worst things that happen to you lead to the best outcomes. If Claire hadn't shown her true colors, I might have married her, only to discover her real character years later, possibly with kids in the picture. Instead, I'm in a beautiful city with an amazing job, making new friends, and feeling optimistic about the future. The pain of betrayal has been replaced with gratitude for dodging a bullet. Thank you to everyone who has followed this story and offered advice. Your support helped me stay strong when I might have faltered, and to anyone going through something similar, know this: when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't wait for them to change their mind about you. Life's too short to be someone's backup plan. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is step back and build a better life for yourself. That's it for now, folks. This chapter of my life is officially closed, and I can't wait for the next one to begin. Take care, and thank you for everything.